Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Noel Jambert. Today, we're talking a lot of NBA, a lot of NFL, and a little bit MLB. Starting off talking about, conference finals that starts tonight, or preview that game. The Timberwolves playing the OKC Thunder. After that, we're going to the NBA All-Rookie teams. They were just announced, so we'll talk about that. After that, we're going to go to the NFL, talking about signing so far in the NFL, players who've got signed, the extensions, anything like that. Then we're going to the tush push. The tush push has, been brought up again after the coaches meeting, which was in, I believe it was April, and that conversation's back up again. The coaches are meeting about it, so we're gonna see the future of that. And then after that, we're going to the Colorado Rockies, talking about them again for like the second time in 2 weeks. So yeah. But before we get into any of that, however, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. If you wish to tip or donate and show your support for the channel, feel free to do that by using the super chat and the sticker feature if you're in the live stream. And if you're not in the live stream, the two links in the bio and in the description. Even if you don't wish to tip or donate and you still want to show your support, feel free to leave a comment in the YouTube comment section or live stream comment section. I like being able to respond, talk to the fans. So please feel free to do that. And so I can just be able to talk to you guys. That's what I'm here for. So, like I said, if you do wish to tip or donate and show your support, feel free, and you happen to be in the live stream, feel free to use that super chat and that sticker feature. And if you're not in the live stream, the two links in the bio and in the description. That being said, let's get in the topic number one for the day, with that being the NBA Conference Finals. Tonight, we have, but the yawns have already started, man. It's gonna be, I don't know. Every time I start streaming, live recording, the yawn just gets to me. So, who knows? But like I said, game one of the Western Conference Finals is tonight between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this is going to be a very, very good series. It really will be. These teams, their starting fives are so good. They really are. They they are just so evenly matched. They really are. They are just very, very evenly matched, and their starting fives perfectly, resemble that. Obviously, they got the two main characters, SGA versus Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards. And then you got guys, you got other big name players, Jalen Williams versus, probably Mike Conley. You got, Hartenstein versus Randall, or Chet versus Julius Randle. I mean, there are just going to be so many good matchups in this game. And so, they're just going to be so even. It's going to be the perfect series to watch. I think so. Even with that being said, though, this could be, a series that I remember yesterday I was saying that I believe I don't remember exactly who I predicted to win, but if I said the Timberwolves, I might be retracting that statement. I think OKC will be coming out on top in the series. I really do. If you look at the players, yeah, it's gonna be a good matchup, but look at the bench. The bench is really where you know. I'm sorry, man. The bench is really where the it's going to be crucial. The bench play is going to be crucial. Obviously, Alex Caruso, one of the best defenders in the NBA. We saw what he did against Jokic. I mean, absolute domination on the defensive side of the ball. That's what he's always been. A defensive guard who has some good offensive ability. But, his strength is on the defensive side of the ball. And he's just, whoever he's on, they're not doing much. I can tell you that. They just will not be scoring, at least easily. They will be taking, I don't know, there'll be a lot of turnovers and a lot of, missed shots with Caruso on you. Cason Wallace, another good backup guard. He's the point guard for that team off the bench. Great player. I mean, he's small. He's not, super big, but he can play really good basketball. He's pretty quick. He can shoot pretty well. I mean, it's I'm just gonna get one really long yawn out. It would be good. Wiggins. I mean, you got Andrew Wiggins. I mean, great player. Obviously, phenomenal. He's been kind of thrown around the league a little bit, but he's really found himself a good spot in OKC. He's a great player for him, and he's a great bench player. But even with that being said, even though I said the bench is going to be a huge play. It really is. Minnesota has a great bench as well. DiVincenzo, Naj Reid. I mean, they have a great bench as well. But if you look at OKC's bench, you can really see that they are just the better off. They really are just the better off bench team. But because that's going to be a really key implicator on how well these teams are going to do. It really will be. These teams, their starting fives are dominant. Everybody knows that. Their starting fives are pure, just very, very dominant. Both of them are. So it really will matter how well their bench players come off the bench and play. If one, let's say, first game of the night, Minnesota's up big, not really big, but say they're up 15 or 10 or 15, and their bench players come in. I think OKC, just with their bench players in alone, if it's bench on bench, OKC can not only come back, but take that lead. I think their bench is just that good. I really do. Like I've already mentioned a few of the guys. I can't believe I'm yawning this much. This is insane. But, it really is insane. It really is. That the Thunder are just this deep of a team. They are this deep of a team in the NBA. You see, these really dominant teams have some of the best benches in the NBA, and that really comes to show. OKC is just the best team in the NBA when it comes to their depth. They really not only they are the best team in the NBA, but a reason is because how deep and how good their bench depth is. It really is. Like I already said, Caruso, Wallace, Wiggins. I mean, this team is built for long series. They're built for long games, and when you have SGA out, yeah, Wallace, Caruso can step in and make big time plays. That's what they're there for. And Caruso has been in the league a little while. He knows kind of, I wouldn't say like a little, but he's been in the league for a little while now. I'll say that. Wiggins has been in the league. I mean, even their bench has. They honestly have their bench is where all their vets are, and having a lot of your vets coming off the bench is a great thing to have. Having any vet in general, starting or bench is great, but not a single. I would consider a single OKC starter to be a vet. I mean, Hartenstein, he was drafted in what? 18? I'm not sure, exactly sure. SGA, he was 17 or 18. Chet was literally 2 years ago. I mean, this OKC team, their starting five is so young that, and they're so dominant. So they don't need any vet help. But their bench, obviously is made up of a lot of vets, and that's why their bench depth is so good. Just because, vets are the biggest thing an NBA team could have. They're just always going to be a huge implicator, a huge help for you to win games. They really will. And that's why I do believe, OKC will win this series. Whether it be, change our decision. I said Minnesota yesterday, changing it to OKC today. I think they're just too good of a team to not win. I really do. They are just better in a lot of ways. Yeah, you got some great players in Minnesota. Like I said, obviously, Randall, DiVincenzo, Ant-Man, Mike Conley. I mean, Jaden McDaniels. I mean, this team it's a great team in Minnesota. It really is. Oh, my God. I'm getting annoyed at myself for how much I'm yawning. But, I mean, their OKC is just that good. They really are. OKC is just that deep. And that's why I do believe OKC will win the series probably in 6 games. I think it'll be a 4-2 win with OKC moving on to the NBA Finals. So I got for this topic. Next topic, we're sticking with the NBA, talking about the NBA all-rookie teams. We'll get to that after the break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, I'm losing shit. A stupid myth, you choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. First segment, we talked about the NBA Conference Finals starting tonight. I previewed the OKC versus Minnesota Timberwolves Game 1. This segment, segment number 2, we're talking about NBA All-Rookie teams. They were just announced a few hours ago, so we're going to touch about that. Before we get into this topic, however, tips and donations. Tipping and donating is a great way for you guys to show your support for the channel. If you wish to tip or donate and show your support, and you happen to be in the live stream, feel free to do that by using the super chat and the sticker feature. And if you're not in the live stream, the 2 links in the bio and in the description. Even if you don't wish, sorry, it's a little windy outside. If you don't wish to tip or donate and still want to show your support, feel free to leave a comment in the live stream comment section or YouTube comment section. I'll see those right away and respond to those as fast as I can. It really means the world when you guys want to, show your support by leaving comments. It's awesome being able to talk about your comments. So we'll talk about that. But, like I said, even if you don't want to comment and you do want to tip or donate, you would feel free to do that by using the super chat and the sticker feature if you're in the live stream. And if you're not in the live stream, the 2 links in the bio and in the description. That being said, let's get into topic number 2 for the day, with that being the NBA All-Rookie teams. So, the NBA has finally announced their All-Rookie teams. They finally have. And, they're pretty good. I kind of expected. I'm going to have them pull up on my phone, so sorry if I'm looking down. But they were kind of expected. I kind of saw, what's the word I'm looking for? I kind of saw where some of these teams were going to go. I kind of saw, most of these players going to where they were. And yeah, I'm looking at some of the guys who didn't make it. I'll talk about the notable players. We'll talk about let's talk about the guys who made the NBA teams first. So I'll talk about that. So first topic, first team All NBA. For Stephon Castle for the San Antonio Spurs. No doubt about it. Rookie of the year, stepped up for the Spurs. They didn't have a great year overall, but huge addition for the Spurs. He's a great player this year. Obviously, like I said, 1 Rookie of the Year. He's going to be a bright player in the future of the NBA. He really will be. Then we have Zachary Richardson. Sorry, he's got a weird last name. From the Hawks, first overall pick. And yeah, it's the first team All NBA. Makes sense. First overall pick. Had a pretty good season. He had 99 first place votes and 1 second place vote. It's kind of messed up. He was a guaranteed first team player. He is a great player. He averaged, I believe, 12 and 9, so almost a double-double as a rookie. It's a pretty solid stat line. Congrats to him. Jalen Wells out of Memphis, great player, great guard for them. He's a huge pickup for him. He stepped up big when Ja was out for a little while, so he stepped up pretty big and made some pretty big impacts for the Grizzlies. Zach Edey, also out of Memphis, great player this year. Obviously came out of Purdue. Zach Edey, I really didn't know where he was going to go. I really wasn't sure, if he was going to get drafted or not. I knew he was, going to be a player in the NBA. I wasn't sure, how good he would match up, how good he would be, how far he would fall, or, if he fell at all. And, he made first team All NBA for rookies. And I'm not really surprised by that, but my doubts early in the year were I didn't think he'd play well at all in the NBA. NBA is very fast paced. and he really can't, he can't play. He's not like a stretch big. He's a, he's like just a normal, I guess you'd say, center. He plays like an average center. A lot of rebounds, not a lot of points. He's like a Rudy Gobert. He's literally like a Rudy Gobert. He's kind of slow, sluggish, but he gets rebounds when you need him to and makes blocks. So congrats to, yeah, because I really didn't know like where he would fall, but I'm happy he made the first team. It's a great player. And to end off, somehow he made first team All NBA. Alex Sarr. Alex Sarr made, I'm very surprised to see that because he started the year off so poor. He had a few game stretch where he was putting up like double doubles. He's putting up like 20 plus points, 10 rebounds, and 3 back to back games. So that stretch probably could have helped his case. But the way he was playing throughout the season, you would have thought he wouldn't even made an overall NBA team, like first or second. Like he really didn't. So, but I mean, congrats to him. I mean, he was a top. He was the second overall pick. Top. He was yeah, and it's kind of crazy that he fell. I mean, he didn't really fall in the draft, but he didn't play as well as everybody wanted him to. Granted, he's in Washington. There's nothing going on in Washington. There really isn't. They got nothing over there. They got nobody, no future. Like, unfortunately, they just don't. So, on paper, that's kind of a good team, though. You look at it, Jordan Poole, Chris Middleton, Marcus Smart, Alex Sarr. That's a good team on paper, kind of. But, they're just not. So, the first team All-NBA, I'll recap it again. Stephon Castle, the Spurs. Zachary Richese, the Hawks. Jalen Wells out of Memphis. Zach Edey out of Memphis. And Alex Sarr out of Washington. Congrats to those guys. And now we got second team All-NBA. Khalil Ware out of Miami. I honestly could have had him over Sarr, but, whatever. Khalil Ware is a great pickup. He's a great big. He really is. He's going to be a very good player for the Heat, especially when Bam Adebayo, I was going to say, I literally couldn't say his last name. When Bam eventually, he's been in the league a little while now, so if he eventually starts to slow down, which he honestly hasn't, he's been playing great his entire career, and he's still playing good, but I mean, honestly, putting him at the 4, that's a great combo. He played great for them this year on the minutes that he had. Great player for him. Congrats to him. Matisse, I can't say his last name. It's not Buzzles, so it's just name Matisse. Out of Chicago. I'm very surprised to see how far he fell in the draft. He really did. He was at one point talked about being a top 2, maybe the first overall pick, and he eventually ended up falling to the Bulls, which I'm very surprised. He was a great player. He honestly could have made first team All-NBA, first team All-Rookie team as well, but he didn't. But he was honestly a great player. He really was. He's literally I wouldn't say a stretch big, but for his size, he can really do it all. Rebound, shoot, play make. He's got it all. So, yeah, we saw that coming, but I honestly very surprised to see how far he fell in this NBA draft. And then Uvis Missy out of New Orleans. I definitely messed that name up. But, yeah, great player as well. I didn't really follow the Pelicans that much, so I know they weren't the best team. But, Missy was a pretty good add-on to their addition. He's a pretty good add-on for the team. Obviously, young guard, huge playmaker, made a lot of plays. The Pelicans were pretty injured this year as well. So, having him get a lot of minutes with them being injured, huge thing for them. Then, Donovan Clingan out of Portland. Great year this year. He was a great add-on for them as well. Great shooter. Did a lot, wet with that Shaden Sharp combo. Portland honestly is building a really good team. They really are. They have a lot going over there in Portland. Obviously Donovan Clingan. You have, Shaden Sharp. I mean, they really do have a lot going on in Portland, and they really could be a good team in the next few years if they decide to, keep some assets, maybe make a trade. Or if Dame never left, they would probably have made the playoffs this year. I think Dame leaving Portland was the worst thing that he honestly could have done for his career. Yeah, he wanted to trust the process. He didn't want to run from the grind, but I think honestly he should just stay at Portland. When the second he left, he hasn't been the same. He really hasn't. No injuries. I don't know if that's he could kind of prevent that, but still, him leaving Portland was honestly just not the best for his career. And then Bob Carrington, also a Wizard. I didn't really follow him much this year, But I know him and Sarr played pretty well together. They had some good chemistry built up. So, congrats to him. So I'll recap them both. First team All NBA, Stephon Castle, Stephon Castle out of say the team too. For the Spurs, Ricochet for the Hawks, Edie for the Grizzlies, Jalen Wells for the Grizzlies, and Alex Sarr for the Wizards. First team. Second team All NBA, Kelly Ware for the Heat, Matisse for the Bulls, Missy for the Pelicans, Klingon for the Trailblazers, and Bob Carrington for the Washington Wizards. And now the other list is all NBA, all rookie team voting results for, honorable mentions. Guys who didn't make the team that, could have. I'm honestly very surprised they didn't. So let's talk about some guys here. Kyle Filipowski, Utah Jazz. He had a very good year. He really did. He was on a Utah Jazz team that has, like I've said, really has no future. They really don't have a lot going over there in Utah. Unless, they had the first overall pick, could have get Cooper Flag, great combo. But, Filipowski had a great year. He really did. But obviously not good enough for, to make first or second team. He had a really underrated year. No, he was just a great player for the Jazz this year. Ron Holland out of Detroit, I'm a Pistons fan. He's got work to do. Obviously he's really young, but he really has, kind of proved himself to be a good player for Detroit. He's getting good minutes towards the end of the year, making some, big time plays for us. He's got a bright future in Detroit. He really does. Dalton Knecht for the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers wanted to trade him, but that trade didn't go through. So he kind of came back and kind of proved himself to be a good player. And I just don't think he had, enough time this year to make either team. I don't think he had enough minutes, to really make an NBA first or second team all-rookie team. But he had a great year for the Lakers this year. That's honestly really it. Isaiah Coulier out of the Jazz as well. He had a pretty solid season as well if you followed him. But yeah, I mean, really the biggest snubs I can see, Filipowski is probably Jared McCain, but obviously he got injured, which sucks. He would have won Rookie of the Year and he would have got first team, but injuries. So that's blows. But honestly, the snubs are really just Filipowski and Jared McCain. You can also, obviously, Pistons fan, say Ron Holland. He didn't really deserve to be there, but I'm going to say just because he deserved to be there. But, some of the players in here had some pretty good, had some great seasons. But, yeah, I mean, that's really it. For that segment, that's really it. The teams are pretty good. I think you can move a few guys here around. But other than that, I think that, the committee, they're pretty good. So, congrats to all the guys who made, first, second team All-Rookie NBA. It's a huge accomplishment. So I got for this segment. Next segment, we're going to the NFL. We're talking about, some offseason signings and extensions that have gone on so far. So we'll get to that after the break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jabber. Segment number 3 today, we're going to the NFL. We're talking, NFL signing so far. But if you're just tuning in, we talked about NBA before this, the conference finals, previewed the game for the night, and just talked about the NBA all-rookie teams that were just announced. Yeah, like I said, Number 3, NFL signing so far. So, first one I want to talk about. Obviously, I talked about Brock Purdy yesterday. If you want to hear my takes on that, you can go, watch that old video from yesterday. But I'll talk about him first. Just a quick recap from him. He was just signed to a quick 5-year, $260 million contract. And he's a good player, but I don't think he's worth that much money. I think he's worth a lot less. But hey, that's just me. Basically, in the contract, though, what his contract is a 3-year, $180 million guarantee. So it's practically that contract, 3 years, $180 million, with the possibility of, making some incentives, all that stuff. But yeah, I didn't think he's worth that much money. I really don't. I don't think he's worth the 100. I don't even think. I mean, $260 million is a lot of money. That's what I originally saw. But seeing. Excuse me, I had a burp. But seeing that the add-on stuff, I think that was I think that's a good contract for him. 3 years, 160, 180 isn't too bad. No, it really isn't. That's a solid contract, so I can give him that. Another signing that just came out, it was yesterday. 49ers Fred Warner, 4-year, $63 million contract for the linebacker for the Niners. And the Niners had plenty of room in free agency, and they really haven't spent a lot of money. And this second half of the offseason, they have really been spending more money. I guess they have. So they gave George Kittle a 4-year, $76 million contract. And like I said, they just gave Brock Purdy a 5-year, $265 million contract. And so now yesterday, him and his agent have agreed to go back to the Niners with a 3-year, $63 million contract. And he is now the highest paid off-ball linebacker in the NFL, which that's he's not a Mike backer, he's an outside backer, and he's guaranteed $56 million out of that 63. He's guaranteed 56. That's nuts. That is really good. His agent locked in for him. He really did. He got him. He really did really well for him. He really did. And Warner, he still has 2 more years on his remaining contract, but his new contract. What should I say? This is the second time. Sorry, I'll say this. The second time Warner signed extension that made him, the highest paid off-ball linebacker and linebacker in the league. And he's one of the first 2 first-team All-Pro selections over the past 5 seasons. Joining, he is paired up with Myles Garrett in between, becoming one of those off-ball, DNs or off-ball linebacker players to get that much money. He's one of the highest behind Myles Garrett, and it's insane. It really is good for him. He's a great player. Fred Warner has been with the Niners a while, and he's kind of he's solidified himself he's already a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's a great player. He really is. He's an all-time great linebacker. And, he really deserves his contract. He's recorded at least, 118 tackles in his 7 NFL seasons. And, he's made 3 straight Pro Bowls and 3 straight all-pro first teams. And, he didn't miss a single game last year, despite, he fractured a bone in his ankle week 4 against the Patriots. That was, I forgot, that was horrible for him. That sucked. I really thought he was going to be out, but nah, he just pushed through and persevered. And, in 2023, Warner had was probably his best NFL season, honestly, so far. 132 tackles, career high, 11 deflected passes, 4 picks, and 4 forced fumbles. And the Niners made it to the Super Bowl that year. Yeah, they lost, but, Fred Warner was really the anchor of that defense. He really has been the anchor of their defense this whole time being there. And he really does, deserve all the money he's getting. He really does. He's that good of a player. Fred Warner, congrats to him, man. He's made so much money. He has made, so much just money, Pro Bowls, All-Star, All-Pro selections. He deserves all this money in the world. He really does. He's that good of a player. So congrats to him. Another player I want to talk about is Shedeur Sanders of the Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns. He just got signed to his rookie contract, 4 years, $4.6 million. And, this wouldn't really be a big deal. People really wouldn't, I wouldn't be thinking much of this, except for the fact that, it's Shedeur Sanders. He was taken, I think, 5th round when he was projected, a top 10 pick. And, this really shouldn't be news to anybody. But, it's news because he was taken so low in the draft when he was projected already to be so high. That's why it's news. That's why I'm talking about it. He was, like I said, rookie contract, 4 years, $4.6 million. And he's only guaranteed like $1 million in that contract. He's not even he's not safe from being cut. He can get cut. But, it's a matter of if the Browns want to keep him. And I think, he's got a lot to prove. Obviously he's a rookie. He's fighting against Dillon Gabriel, who was also drafted in the 3rd round with the Browns. And they're fighting for, they're fighting to keep their spots. And it's going to be a good matchup. These two are great quarterbacks. They're both phenomenal in college. Dillon Gabriel obviously was a Heisman candidate. And, it's just good to see him get paid because now he knows, he has a reason to fight. Yeah, he's been fighting this, training camp to get that contract extension, get that contract made to him, get that money. And now he's got a reason to fight even more. He's got to make sure he stays there all 4 years and maybe, renegotiates his contract midway through that to sign up for maybe a 3-year deal for $50 million, maybe even more. Depends how good he is. But, congrats to him. Much needed. Like I said, he didn't deserve to fall that far. He really didn't. Shedeur Sanders did not deserve to fall to the 5th round. He deserved to fall maybe to latest the 3rd, but 5th round is kind of crazy. It really is. If you watch his college tapes, you will know how good of a player he is and how dominant he was in college. No one needs to go out of their way to watch his college tapes to know how good of a player he was. He already is just that good of a player. He really is. So, congrats to him, obviously. Great player in college. Hopefully, he finds a home in Cleveland. Hopefully, he can, prove himself to be a great player in Cleveland, which I think he will. I think he will prove a lot of people wrong and prove to be, a valuable asset to the Browns. I think he really will, and I hope he does. He really deserves to, get that spotlight, get that recognition. So, congrats to him. That's all I can really say about that. Congrats to him. Hopefully, hopefully, I think I've been saying this for a little while. Him and Gabriel and Joe Flacco will really be the only quarterbacks they have. Kenny Pickett, he won't be playing. Deshaun Watson, he's basically out the entire year with another injury. So it'll be between him and Gabriel fighting for that 2nd spot, and then Flacco starting off the year most likely. Bringing back Flacco. Huge, addition to have back. He's a great player. He's literally he's basically a journeyman now, but a great journeyman quarterback. He really is. So, like I said, congrats to all of these guys. Getting their money up. It's what an NFL player does. Get their money up, and that's what they're here for. So, congrats to them, and hopefully, the teams they spent the money on. Hopefully, these teams that spent the money contract on them, works out. Because I think they all will. Brock Purdy, he was a great quarterback. I don't think he deserved that much money. But good quarterback, Fred Warner, one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and Deshaun Watson, and Shedeur Sanders, one of the great young quarterbacks taken late in the draft. Hopefully, he can prove himself to be a standout guy. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're talking about the tush push and the future it holds in the NFL. We'll get to that after the break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing losing it. The noose it fits, some loose shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Noel Jambert. First 3 segments, talked NBA. We talked, NBA Conference Finals that starts tonight. Previewed that game, Minnesota versus OKC. Then talked about the all-rookie teams that just came out. Talked about, who I think really deserved it. We talked NFL last segment, signed some offseason signings and an extension so far. In this segment number 4, we're talking about the future of the tush push in the NFL. The tush push has been, been talked about a lot, recently. It really has. The commission, the NFL, they want to. A lot of coaches want to ban it. Roger Goodell is in favor of banning it, which I don't like. Sorry, Goodell, but that's an interesting choice by you. It's just the future of this play, is compromised. It really is. Any play like it is compromised. There is. Oh, okay, we're good. Yeah, it really is the compromise, I guess you could say. It is. I doubt it'll be in the NFL by this season, and like I said, so I believe the coaches' meeting was in. Is it April? Yeah, I think it was like April. I think it was like mid-April? Early April? I don't remember exactly. But the coaches meeting, they brought up the topic of banning the tush push. And, it was talked about, and they decided, we'll come back to this in a few months, when we have more time to think about it. And, the NFL coaches all came back, they reconvened, and they decided, a lot of them are in favor of banning it now, which I think is just not the right decision at all, because it's not only is the tush push in jeopardy, but any play involving pushing players forward. Like, let's say, you're downfield and you're fighting for that inch to get that first down, and let's say one of your linemen come up and pushes you forward. You're not allowed to do that anymore either. Supposedly, as part of the articles I've been seeing, you can't push your teammates forward anymore. You can't get behind them and start shouting them for extra yardage. You have to just let them go, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I really think it is dumb, because the tush push, the play itself isn't overpowered. It's not the play, and I've been saying this when I was talking about this a while ago during the coaches meeting about the topic. It's not the play, it's the players. If you have a team like the Browns, the Lions, or the Cardinals, or the Patriots, just any other team in the NFL who runs that play, it will not be nearly as successful as the Eagles run it. And it's not because, they're not running it right. It's because they don't have the right personnel. The Eagles' offense is built they just happen to have it built so they can run that play perfectly. Their offensive line is constantly, one of the best offensive lines in the league. They have just the strongest guys, some of the most vetted linemen. Jalen Hurts, he is the strongest lower body quarterback we honestly could ever see. He squats 650, 700. I mean, he is an absolute freak. He really is. He is an absolute freak. Pause. But, he's a great player. He really is. He is insanely strong, insanely quick. And the reason that play works is because of Jalen Hurts' just ability, his strength. It really is. His strength leverages his body forward when they're all pushing him. And, that's why it works so well. Let's say the Cardinals run that with, Kyler Murray. That play would maybe get a yard at most. Their offensive line isn't good enough. Kyler Murray not only isn't strong enough, he isn't big enough. Their backfield I don't think their running backs or tight ends, if they have a tight end personnel out there, I don't think that could help them, I really don't. I think it works so well, just like I said, because they're the player personnel they have out there is that good. Like I said, Jalen Hurts, his lower body and his overall strength, one of the best you've ever seen in a quarterback, could ever be in a quarterback. He's insanely strong. Their backfield, obviously Saquon Barkley, one of the other strongest lower body guys in the NFL. He also squats, for running back, 650 pounds. A normal running back is squatting, 335, 400. He's squatting lineman weight. Like, he is squatting lineman weight as a running back and a quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Insane. And like I've been saying, it's not the play, it's the players. They're the formation, and it just works so well because, the personnel they have out there with it. Like I said already, if you get a different team that run it like that, you can run it the exact same way against the same defense. Let's say the Eagles are playing the Cowboys. Let's say they run it compared to the Giants. Like I said, yeah, the Cowboys defense is decent. That's why I'm kind of comparing it. The Eagles run it. It's like a 4th and 2. They'll probably get it with maybe an extra yard or two. The Giants run it. They honestly probably won't get it, and if they do, barely, because whether it be Jackson Dart, Winston, or Russell Wilson, they're not nearly strong enough like Jalen Hurts, and also their offensive line is just not good enough compared to the Eagles to get the job done. I think it's just insane that they even want to ban this play. It's just these teams lose to it, and all of a sudden, it's a problem. Like, it's not it. You have if it's that big of a problem, you gotta build around it. You should see this team lining up a tush push formation. You should be able to not only kind of predict it. Okay, it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2 up in the Eagles. Okay, get tush push defense out there. Get your strongest guys, line them up. Look for maybe a wide receiver, tight end looking for a pop out. Looking for him to pop out and run. Get some open yard, find an open field for a fake. Because they did that too. They had they faked the tush push. They got under center, got the formation, 2 guys in the backfield ready to push. And then you had Jalen Hurts step back and just lob it up to, I believe, it wasn't Zach. It was their tight end. I believe it's a tight end. Maybe I forgot exactly who it was. But, they faked it. And what you can do, have, one of your linebackers spy, maybe your edge guy. Maybe, you have your receiver in the corner, have your linebacker maybe just line up on him and crack him, try to get him down, or force him off the line of scrimmage so it can't fake it. And then get your strongest D linemen, get some of your best players, best linebackers, and just line them up. So just try to defend it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least you know what you're trying. You can't just blame the play, and you can't blame the play because it's working against you. You have time to prepare for it. It's just that if it's that big a deal, prepare for it. That's really all I can say. If it's that big of a deal, you got to learn to adapt, learn to adjust to it, and build the personnel around to just stop that one play. That's really all I can say. And another, future of, a thing, like a spot, I guess you could say, or a type of play, onside kick. The onside kick has been getting talked about nowadays. Now you have to declare if you're kicking an onside kick, which I think and you can only do it in the 4th quarter. And now they're proposing that any team that's losing is allowed to do it whenever. And I think that's kind of cool, Imagine it's like second half or like second quarter, you're down like 7-14. You're like, screw it, we're gonna go for a onside kick. And now you don't have to declare if you're losing, you can just do it. And I think that's really cool. I really think it is. Just kind of throw your opponents off guard. I think it's really cool, and I'm fine with that. Onside kick is one of the most fun things to watch. It's one of the coolest things to watch in the NFL. Those guys, just kind of all rustling around for the ball. And it's just really fun. I love onside kick. And now if, only the team that's losing the game currently can do it without announcing it anytime in the game, which I'm fine with, throw your opponents off guard. I think that's really cool. I'd be completely fine with that. Onside kick should have never changed it originally, so you can do it whenever. I thought that change in itself was, really, I didn't like it. But now with them, being able to just do it whenever they want. If you're losing, go for it. I like that a lot. Yeah, the original change I didn't like. I didn't like how they changed it originally, so you have to declare it only be in the 4th quarter. But, things change. People want to change it up a little bit. Go for it. I'm not going to stop you, but, this edition is huge. I like this a lot. And the tush push, yeah, like I said so many times before, I don't agree with it. It's the team It's the play, not the players. No, it's the players, not the play. Yeah. Yeah, it's the players, not the play. I think it's, ridiculous the teams want to ban it because the Eagles do it so successfully. If you want to work it so well, find a quarterback in free agency who's strong and just draft them for this or pick them up for one reason. Tush push. That's all you gotta do. The that's what the Commanders do. They use Marcus Mariota for plays like that. Short yardage gains. They get Mariota in the backfield. They want to go for QB draw, be a tush push. It works for them last year. Teams got to be able to adjust and maybe run it themselves instead of banning it. Because I think it's just, like I said, really stupid, not smart. So like after this segment, next segment, ending it off, talking MLB. We're talking about the Colorado Rockies once again. So I'll get to that after the break. Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. Today, we've been covering NFL and NBA. Started off talking about the NBA Conference Finals. Western Conference Finals starts tonight. Previewed that game, OKC versus Minnesota. It's going to be a great series. Second segment, NBA, our rookie teams. Those were announced. We talked about that. Third segment, we touched on the NFL and some offseason signings and extensions so far. Segment 4, last segment, we talked about the tush push in the future in the NFL, what's going to happen with it. And this segment, number 5, we're going to the MLB, talking the Colorado Rockies once again. The Colorado Rockies are on pace to have the worst 50-game start in recent MLB history. And, that's just horrible. Over the past few years, the Rockies have had they've been less and less impressive. In 2023, they broke the record for most franchise losses with 100 losses in one season. And, that was the worst season in franchise history. In 2024, they finished with a few more wins, but making it the second worst season in the team's history. And this season, it's not much better. The Rockies, they got to celebrate a win after losing 16 of the last 17 games, with including 8 in a row, which is, they had an 8-0 stretch that just lost and lost and lost and lost. They're horrible. But this season, they narrowly missed the worst 25-game start in MLB history with a 4-21 record. And, they are getting very, very close to the worst 50-game start in MLB history since the wild card was instituted in 1995, sorry. And so some of the teams, kind of that have had one of the worst, so I'll just name some teams that have had some of the worst 50-game starts in MLB history. But as of right now, they are 8-39, which is, if I'm correct, that is 47 games. Let me make sure that's right to the math. Let me just make sure. 8 plus 39. Yeah, 47. Okay, I was right. So they have to win And they have to win it these next 3 games to make sure they don't have the worst start, the worst 50-game start in MLB history. But like I said, they have they'll at least win 2 to avoid setting or tying the worst record in MLB history. But they should try to win for 3. But here are the worst 50-game starts since MLB, the wild card in 1995. You have the first, which is the 2023 Oakland A's. They were, for how bad they were, 10-40. This hurts to see. The 96 Detroit Tigers, 12-38. They were not good in that era. 2013 Marlins, 13-37. 06 City Royals, and 05. The 06 and 05 Royals are on here twice back-to-back years. 13-37, the exact same record. 13-37. 2003 Tigers again. Didn't even know that. Dang. That hurts to see. 13-37 as well. 2013 Astros, 14-36. 2009 Nationals, 14-36. These next 2 teams are 14-36 as well. 03 San Diego Padres and the 01 Tampa Bay Rays. I didn't know they were called the Devil Rays. Huh, that's weird. That's news to me. But, the Rockies could turn it around. This season's start will be on the list for one of the worst in history since 95 when the wild card was introduced. And this will be in addition to the other historic records broken this season after the Rockies endured, the worst shutout in franchise history when they lost 21-0 to the Padres last week, I believe. And, they're the first team to start 7-36 in the, modern era in NBA. In the MLB. They have just, this Rockies team really just has nothing going for them. Like, I covered them last week, and they really just don't have anything going for them. They really don't. Their best pitcher, their best starter has a 6 ERA. I mean, their best hitter, I think he's batting for like 260. When your best hitter is hitting 260, and after that, their second best, I believe, is like 210. I mean, that's rant. I'm gonna look up their ERA. I'm gonna look up like all their averages right now, and I gotta see, how just I gotta see this. They're playing the night. I'm pretty sure they're playing the night too. They're playing because they played the who were they playing last night? The Phillies. Yeah, they played the Phillies last night in that series. They lost like 9-3, I believe. So let me look at their stats. Let's see their batting averages right now. Yeah, I forgot about Henry Hunter Goodman. He's batting 292. So okay, congrats to him. But that's their best hitter. Let's look at their batting percentages. 210, 201, 204, 220, 264, 246, 238. I mean, it's just so bad. Their worst hitter is hitting 125. So, it's... The problem is, no one on their team is hitting exceptionally good. They're all just hitting very mediocre. 292. There goes some 292. And then their second best is 275. So, it's like no one on their team is hitting really good. That's the problem. They're all just hitting so mediocre that they just can't, find a way around, their problems. Their best pitcher's ERA is 6, or their best starting pitcher's ERA is 6, which is horrible. So, I mean, like I said in a few shows ago when I talked about them, they're horrible. They have no future. They really don't. Their farm is horrible. Their farm is one of the worst in the MLB behind the White Sox. They got no young stars. I mean, they're just no future there. It really sucks to say because they used to actually be pretty good, like in the 2010s, early 2000s era. They were a solid team in that time. They have a really cool field too. It just sucks, see a team like, a team that I actually used to enjoy watching. I'm not a Rockies fan, but when they were on, I would always, kind of enjoy watching them play because I really liked when I was like really young. I liked their jerseys a lot. The black and purple's are really cool. I like the mix, so I used to watch them a lot. But things change, and now they just stink, which sucks. But Rockies fans, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, you guys are about to have possibly the worst start in MLB history, 50 games. I don't see you guys beating the Phillies. I really don't. I don't see you guys winning that. I think you guys had the worst start, and a 50-game start in franchise history. You've also had the worst blowout in franchise history, 21-0. That's just horrible. 21-0 that's a football score. That's nuts. But, I mean, yeah, if you're a Rockies fan, I'm sorry. But congrats. I mean, you're staying strong, so kudos to you, I guess. But I feel you, man. I was a fan of the 14-win Pistons team, so at least you guys got the Nuggets. So I'm lucky. At least you got the Nuggets. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the GSMC Deadball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. Your continued support means the world, so please feel free to like, comment, and share with anybody you know. If you wish to stay up to date with all things GSMC, make sure to follow us on our social media, whether it being LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. We're on it. Just get to social media, search GSMC Sports Podcast, hit us with that follow so you know when all of our content's coming out for the day. But like I said, thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Have a good one.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to